Somewhere in your kitchen right now, there's a snack that's quietly working against your kidneys. And on that exact same shelf, there's probably another one that could be working for them. Same grocery store, same price, completely different effect on the number that shows up on your next lab report.
Here's something almost nobody tells you. The average kidney appointment runs about 12 minutes. There's a billing code for a prescription. There's a billing code for a scan. There is no billing code for the 10 minutes it would take to sit down and explain what you should actually be reaching for at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that conversation gets cut every single time.
I'm Dr. Zacher. In 20 years of internal medicine, I've sat across the desk from hundreds of people over 60, watching their creatinine climb on a lab report, feeling like there was nothing in their own two hands they could do about it.
There is something you can do. Today, I'm going to give you 5 ordinary snacks, the kind sitting in any grocery store you already shop at. And I'm going to show you exactly why each one eases the load on the tiny filters inside your kidneys. I'll show you how to prepare each one so it helps instead of quietly harming you. And I'll tell you about the mistakes I watch careful, well-meaning people make every week without having any idea.
But before we get to the food, I want to talk about something most videos like this skip completely. What a diagnosis like this does to how you see yourself. I think that part matters just as much as what's on your plate, and I'll come back to it in a few minutes. First, let me be straight with you, because you've been promised things before by people on the internet. I am not going to tell you these 5 snacks will cure kidney disease, reverse it, or undo years of damage. That would be a lie, and you'd be right to stop listening to me right now. What I am telling you is quieter and honestly more useful. Food, chosen carefully and prepared the right way, genuinely changes how hard your kidneys have to work. And a kidney that's working a little less hard holds its ground for longer. This isn't a sales pitch. It lines up with kidney nutrition guidance from the National Institutes of Health, the Mayo Clinic, and the Cleveland Clinic. So who am I actually talking to right now? If your last lab test showed your creatinine creeping past 1.2 or 1.5 or higher, if a doctor has said the words stage 3 to you, maybe even stage 4, if you're getting up 2, 3, 4 times a night to use the bathroom and you've started to dread it, this is for you. Let me give you the 90-second explanation almost nobody ever gives you. Because once you understand this, every one of the 5 snacks is going to make complete sense. Creatinine is a waste product. Every time your muscles do their job, they burn a fuel called creatine, and creatinine is the leftover waste from that. It circulates through your blood until your kidneys filter it out and send it into your urine. In a healthy body, it's produced all day and cleared all day, so the level in your blood stays low and steady. Your kidneys do this filtering through about 1 million microscopic filters each, called nephrons. When nephrons get damaged, from years of high blood sugar, blood pressure that stayed too high for too long, or the slow progress of chronic kidney disease, that filtering slows down. Creatinine keeps being produced, but it's not cleared as fast, so it builds up in your blood. That's when your labs start showing 1.5, 1.8, 2.0, and climbing. Now, here's the part that changes everything. That number doesn't only reflect how damaged your filters are. It also responds to 2 things you actually have some say over every single day. First, how much waste you're asking your kidneys to clear in the first place. Second, how much ongoing damage those filters are taking from inflammation and poor blood flow. Every one of these 5 snacks works on one of those 2 levers. Less waste to filter, less damage to the filters. That's the whole game. And your fork is one of the very few places you actually get a vote. Before the first snack, let me say the thing I really want you to hear today.
Somewhere between the diagnosis and all the follow-up appointments, it's easy to start thinking of yourself differently. Not as you anymore, as a number, a creatinine level, a stage. People introduce themselves to me that way all the time. I'm stage 3. Not, I'm someone who still gardens on Saturday mornings. Not, I'm someone driving up to see my grandkids next month. Just the stage. That shift matters more than people realize. When the diagnosis becomes your whole identity, you tend to fall into one of two traps. Either the fear curdles into giving up, what's the point, it's already damaged, or it turns into denial, pretending the labs don't really apply to you because you feel fine today. There's a third way, and it's the one I want for you. Seeing yourself as someone managing a condition, not someone defined by it. An active participant who also happens to be a retired electrician or a mother or a man who still swims on Tuesdays. The disease is one fact about you. It isn't the whole sentence. And I'll tell you honestly, after 20 years of this, the people who hold on to the rest of who they are tend to be the ones who actually stick with the small changes long enough for them to matter. So before we get into the food, you are not your creatinine number. You're a person who now has one more thing to manage, the same way you've managed plenty of other things in your life. Let's talk about how. The first snack is one I recommend to nearly every kidney patient I see, and when I ask if they eat it, almost all of them say no. Red grapes. I can already hear the objection, because I hear it in the exam room every week. Doctor, isn't that a lot of sugar? Stick with me, because the answer's more interesting than a simple yes or no. Red grapes contain a natural compound called resveratrol. You've probably heard about it in connection with red wine, but the resveratrol in whole grapes is far more useful to your body than anything in alcohol, and alcohol is the last thing a struggling kidney needs more of. Inside the kidneys, resveratrol helps calm oxidative stress, which is the cellular wear and tear that slowly scars your nephrons over the years. The skin of the grape adds another layer, flavonoids called quercetin and anthocyanins, the same pigments behind that deep red color, which early research links to less protein leaking into your urine. If you've ever noticed foamy urine, that foam is often protein slipping through filters that should have kept it in your bloodstream. Here's the number that really matters, though. A half cup of red grapes has only about 88 milligrams of potassium. A single banana has over 400. For someone with stage 3 or 4 kidney disease, that difference is enormous because damaged kidneys struggle to clear excess potassium, and too much of it can throw off your heart's rhythm. So here's how to eat them. Fresh, whole, red grapes, washed, kept in the fridge. About half a cup, which is roughly 15 to 20 grapes, as a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack. And here's a tip I give my own patients that almost nobody teaches. Pair that half cup with a small amount of protein, like a few unsalted walnuts or a bit of low-sodium cheese. The protein slows down how fast the natural sugar hits your bloodstream. 2 mistakes to avoid. Don't drink grape juice instead. Juicing strips the fiber and concentrates the sugar. And don't reach for raisins. Drying grapes concentrates the potassium up to around 750 milligrams in just a quarter cup, which turns a kidney-friendly food into a kidney problem. And choose red over green. The color really is part of the medicine here. Now, has a doctor ever told you to cut back on protein because of your kidneys? If so, listen carefully, because getting this wrong can hurt you 2 different ways. Too much of the wrong protein forces a struggling kidney to work harder, but too little protein costs you the muscle that keeps you standing, walking, and safe from falls. The second snack strikes exactly the right balance: cooked egg whites. When your body breaks down protein, It makes a waste product called urea, which shows up on your labs as BUN. A struggling kidney has to work harder to clear it. Years ago, the advice was just to slash protein across the board, but that quietly created another problem. People over 60 are already losing muscle every year through something called sarcopenia. And here's the twist. When you lose muscle, your creatinine can actually look worse because creatinine comes from muscle in the first place. A frail body that's at risk of falling is far more dangerous than a lab number alone can show. Egg whites solve this because they have the highest biological value of any dietary protein. Your body uses almost all of it, leaving very little waste behind. And they're almost phosphorus-free, since nearly all of an egg's phosphorus lives in the yolk. So skip the yolk, and you get premium protein without the phosphorus burden that damaged kidneys struggle to clear. Here's how to prepare them. Scramble 2 or 3 egg whites in a little olive oil, no salt, with fresh herbs like parsley or chives. Or hard-boil whole eggs and just remove the yolks. If you're buying liquid egg whites in a carton, read the label. Some brands sneak in a lot of sodium, so aim for under 100 milligrams per serving. The biggest mistake is eating one lonely egg white and calling it a snack. Aim for 10 to 15 grams of protein at a time, which is usually 3 or 4 egg whites. One caution, if you're stage 4 heading towards stage 5, protein needs get very individual, so work that out directly with your kidney specialist. Now, the third snack is going to surprise you. It surprised half my colleagues too. Potatoes. The very food nearly every kidney diet sheet tells you to cross off. Here's why I want you to put them back on. Potatoes are usually restricted because of potassium, and that's fair. But potassium has one trait most people never learn. It's water-soluble. It dissolves, which means you can physically pull a lot of it out before you ever eat the potato. Dietitians call this leaching, and here's exactly how it works. Peel the potato, slice it thin, about 1/8 of an inch. Soak the slices in warm water for at least 4 hours, changing the water once halfway through. Then drain, rinse, and cook in fresh, unsalted water. Done properly, this pulls out roughly 30 to 50% of the potassium, leaving it behind in the water you throw away. It's not a free pass to eat all the potato you want, but it turns a high potassium food into a moderate one that a lot of stage 3 patients can enjoy with their doctors okay. And honestly, a warm, filling, satisfying potato is one of the reasons people actually stick with a kidney diet instead of feeling deprived and giving up on it completely.
To serve it, 2 small potatoes, leached exactly as I described, boiled in fresh water, lightly mashed, with a drizzle of olive oil, a little rosemary, and a squeeze of lemon. About half a cup per serving. 2 mistakes to avoid. Microwaving instead of leaching removes none of the potassium, so don't skip the soak. And don't swap in a sweet potato thinking it's healthier. A medium one has over 500 milligrams of potassium, unless you leach it the exact same way. A kidney diet and a general healthy diet are not the same thing, and mixing them up can actually cause harm.
Now, before I get to the last 2 snacks, which genuinely surprise people, including some doctors who haven't caught up on the newer research, if this is the first straight answer you've gotten about food and your kidneys, go ahead and hit subscribe right now. This channel is built for exactly this. The 10 minutes your appointment never has time for. And I don't want you to miss what's coming, because the next 2 are the ones people remember most.
All right. Snack number 4. Cauliflower. Almost nobody connects this one to kidney health at all. It's naturally low in potassium, low in phosphorus, low in sodium, and it's a great source of vitamin C and folate, which kidney patients often run low on. It's also part of the cruciferous family, along with broccoli and cabbage, and it contains a compound your body converts into something researchers call DIM. which early research links to lower activity in one of the body's main inflammatory pathways. And inflammation is a big reason creatinine keeps climbing, even in people who feel completely fine. Though I want to be honest, this research is still early, so I'm not telling you cauliflower alone lowers creatinine. I'm telling you it's a safe, nutritious food that supports the broader goal of calming that inflammation.
There's another piece worth mentioning. Cauliflower is rich in choline, which supports the cells in your kidneys that concentrate urine. If those nighttime bathroom trips are wearing you down, that's relevant. Though, again, the research connecting the two directly is still developing. Here's my favorite way to prepare it. Pulse raw florets in a food processor until they look like rice. Microwave for 2 or 3 minutes with no added water, then finish with fresh herbs, lemon juice, and a little olive oil. Or roast the florets at 400 degrees with olive oil and garlic powder until the edges turn golden. Just avoid the frozen bags with cheese sauce already added. Check the label because those are often loaded with sodium and phosphate additives. Last one, snack number 5, and this one genuinely surprises people. Macadamia nuts. If you've been told to avoid all nuts because of your kidneys, here's why that blanket rule is getting outdated. Most nuts really are a problem. An ounce of almonds has about 200 milligrams of potassium and 136 milligrams of phosphorus, which is a real burden if you're stage 3 or 4. But an ounce of macadamias, about 10 to 12 nuts, has only around 104 milligrams of potassium and 53 milligrams of phosphorus, dramatically lower than almost any other nut. They're also rich in monounsaturated fat, the same kind found in olive oil, which supports the blood vessels feeding into your kidneys. And kidney disease and heart disease almost always travel together, so that matters more than it might seem. To enjoy them, stick to 1 ounce, 10 to 12 nuts, raw and unsalted if you can find them, or plain dry roasted. Skip the flavored varieties with added sugar or salt. And one warning that has nothing to do with your kidneys. Macadamia nuts are toxic to dogs, so please keep them well away from any pet in the house. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Walter, because his story is exactly why I keep making these videos. Walter came to see me at 67 with stage 3 kidney disease, after years of blood pressure and blood sugar that had run high through much of his 60s. He told me he felt completely fine, which made the lab numbers feel unfair. He was up 3 times a night and had quietly stopped traveling because of it. We didn't touch his medications. He kept taking everything his kidney specialist prescribed. What we changed was what happened between meals. He swapped his afternoon crackers for red grapes and a few macadamia nuts. He learned to leach a potato. His wife started making cauliflower rice. Over the following months, alongside his medication and his regular labs, his numbers stabilized. I want to be honest here. His creatinine didn't return to normal. It simply stopped climbing. But his nighttime trips dropped from 3 down to 1. And the thing he told me mattered most wasn't the lab work at all. It was finally feeling like an active participant in protecting his kidneys, instead of standing by and watching them fail. I've also seen the other ending, more times than I'd like. Someone hears all of this, means to change, and comes back a year later with worse numbers and fewer options left. The difference between those two stories is rarely about willpower, and it's almost never about money. Usually, it just comes down to this. One person made one small change this week while it was still fresh in their mind. The other waited for a someday that never came. So here's the one idea I want you to walk away with. Every one of these 5 snacks works by reducing the load on your kidneys' filters. That's the whole secret. The egg whites cut down on waste your kidneys have to clear. The grapes and the cauliflower help calm the inflammation that slowly scars those filters.
The macadamia nuts protect the blood vessels feeding into them. And every preparation method we talked about, leaching, cooking without salt, whole fruit instead of juice, is about keeping potassium, phosphorus, and sodium from building up in a system that can't clear them efficiently anymore.
So, what should you actually do tonight? Make it simple. Write a short grocery list right now while it's fresh. Red grapes, a carton of eggs or liquid egg whites, a couple of potatoes, a head of cauliflower, a small bag of raw, unsalted macadamias. Pick just one snack to start with, not all 5. The person who tries to change everything by Monday usually changes nothing by Friday. Learn to leach a potato this week. It's the one skill almost nobody has ever taught you, and it hands you back a food you might have thought was gone for good. Drop the salt from everything. Herbs, lemon, and olive oil instead. And read labels for sodium and the word phosphate. And keep every single appointment with your kidney specialist. Keep the lab work. Know your own numbers. Your creatinine, your GFR, your potassium, your phosphorus. These snacks are meant to work alongside your treatment, never instead of it.
And here's the one thing I'll say in every video I make because it matters more than anything else. If you're living with stage 4 or stage 5 kidney disease, or you've ever been told your potassium runs high, please don't overhaul your whole diet based on a video, including this one. Bring this to your kidney specialist or a renal dietitian and build your own version of this plan together. Because in advanced kidney disease, potassium and protein need to be adjusted very precisely, and too much potassium can genuinely put your heart at risk.
A rising creatinine number isn't a verdict you just sit back and accept. Today, you've got 5 real, affordable ways to ease the load on filters that have worked for you every single day of your life without ever asking for thanks. Tonight, it's your turn to work for them.
If this gave you something your last 12-minute appointment didn't have time for, tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps this reach more people who need to hear it. Take good care of yourself and take good care of your kidneys. If this gave you something your last 12-minute appointment didn't have time for, tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps this reach more people who need to hear it. Take good care of yourself and take good care of your kidneys.